It's a wrap? Yeah, it's a wrap, y'all. I'm gonna be right back. We gotta load this truck. Hold it down. I'm gonna be right
Yeah. Hurry up and load that truck, man. All right. What's going on, everybody? Yo, EST, what's going on, kiddo?
What's going on, B-Rad, man? Another
Not
day,
much,
another
not
dollar.
much. Yeah, you know what it is. You know what it is. I got my dog in here right now. I got a clean woman here and shit, and she's afraid of my dog, so I got to keep him in my room. And I was bitching because he wants to go out there.
What
He
kind of
got here.
dog is it?
I apologize. He's a Rottweiler, man.
He
Kind of a
old?
pain in the ass. He's a good dog.
done for the day or you still on?
Hey Bush, mute that
Your
mic.
mouth, bro.
Bush, turn up your mic. Nice. But yeah, so what you up to? Anything good? Anything new?
Nah, man, same old motion.
Feel that, feel that. Shout out to everybody down in the chat already. We got is it John Mikes and Yellow Race.
Yeah, I see him in there.
So I mean, we're here to talk about YSL. What you heard about this so far? Because right now it's nothing concrete, but there is stuff going on. It's gonna change.
Yeah. Well, we heard the speculation about the what they
Well, it's
call
not
it
speculation. I actually saw the paperwork they submitted, but they submit paperwork like that every fucking day. You know what I mean?
right.
But yeah, they did submit it, saying that it's pretty wild actually. They're saying that the grand jury indictment that they showed the paperwork to Hertz to get them to release the financial records on the car used in the hit. That they're saying that was forged with a fake seal.
That's
Ooh,
not good. That's
that's
not
real
good.
bad. That's a bad look.
Hey, that's not good. But so that's what illegal search and seizure.
It's inadmissible evidence because it was obtained in improper way. You know, that's
Right.
bottom line. But I mean, the way it plays out, let's say the motion that they, because right now it's just that Fence submitted this paperwork saying that this is what we found. You know, so someone has to look into this, obviously. So it's not like it's just going to end tomorrow. But if this is valid, it's going to be a problem. You know, it's definitely going to be a problem for certain
See, but
forms.
this how the feds do it. They probably be like, okay, we'll let y'all have that, right?
Well, they're
We'll
still
let
dealing with state. It's not Fed yet. That's the great thing. It's still state.
they'll let them have that, but double back for the simple fact that we got the dude Lil Woody cooperating with us, who was there. You know what I'm saying? So that
That's
right
what.
there, how they
Yeah.
obtained the information, the car really don't matter. They got the dude who was, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but see, if the car is found to be inadmissible, then that means the dude that they got through that is also inadmissible, and his testimony gets struck from the record, and he gets cut loose immediately. However, there's a whole shit ton of there's 92 other pages of crimes that they got these guys on in the indictment. You know what I mean? Everything from carjackings to attempted murders to drugs, all sorts of crazy shit.
hey,
So
but that would be the was the rental car for the murder or for the robbery or something?
no, the rental car was for the murder.
Yeah, that'll knock off a
That's a
nice little
big.
chunk.
That's 90% of their case.
Yeah, that's a nice little chunk right there.
Seriously, Atlanta's not out arresting every guy who's fucking attempted to jack a car. You know, every kid that tried to take a fucking a charger off the street is not going. They're not pursuing them with this amount of money. They're going for the murder.
Hey,
That's the nail in the
and the
coffin.
crazy thing is like if the dude behind the car being inadmissible, him being inadmissible, then like you said, they ain't got too much because I don't even think it was too many people involved with that, but that dude who cooperating.
I think so. And I saw somebody has already been sentenced, haven't they?
I'm not sure about
I thought I
that.
saw something saying somebody already got sentenced just recently.
Well, I mean, if a lot of them profit, that's a deal right there. You know what I'm saying? So,
I, this is going to be weird because now this is going to come down to if it's true is
hey,
they were
hey, B
playing
Rad,
games. Ew, what is that?
you said what?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, but what it comes down to is now, if this is true, is this going to end the case altogether? Are they going to drop the RICO charge they have on them, or do they just go on about their business and try to get them for everything else but the murder? Like, you know, like that's who knows how it's going to play out. I don't know about that.
But like you said, if the car voids the dude, that's gonna be groundbreaking right there. But
It's a big
I
piece of
think
their
this
case.
this probably gonna be watched just like the Super Bowl when they start next year.
I don't even know. I would imagine probably early 2023. I would imagine.
I think
But
everybody gonna be tuning into this trial.
but then this also lends a lot of creed to what people have been saying about why the state keeps pushing the case back because the prosecutors keep saying hold up, hold up, hold up, and you know the defense wants to go at it. Yo, Max, shut the fuck up, dog. Seriously.
So do you think that's because they? I mean, but they got to get a lawyers after they give up the evidence. They got to get them some time. So
to,
you
to
think
get,
that's
to
what?
get their stuff together. But you get about 3 months usually to get ready.
Mm,
And a lot of defense lawyers want to go as long as possible because they know their guy's guilty of going to jail. So they'll take as much time as possible, unless they have great evidence to prove that they are innocent. Then they want to go in fast, and the prosecutor is holding up, so he's trying to not go in and try thugging them yet. I think it was because he didn't have it, and I think this might lend some truth to that.
and the little Woody dude got a YouTube page. I went to his page, check his music out and stuff, man. They
He's
on
a
there talking, they out there talking crazy about him. They got rats and cheese all on his page. They, the dude literally got lyrics like, "You turned your back, you snitched to the police. I can't trust you for that." Um,
yeah.
oh
Now
man,
imagine Now
just
imagine
check his
homeboy
page
who
out.
did that. Imagine the kid who did rat gets cut loose, completely innocent. Like now he's fucked
Mm.
both ways because now he can't even
See,
go home.
but you know what'll happen if they lose this case behind that. You know the big brother gonna step up behind that. Big
Well,
brother going, he ain't gonna like that.
no, but I don't think there's anything. What? I mean, what could really be done? You're going against the establishment at that point. You can't. There's nothing you can do at that point.
Right, right.
I mean, like, yeah, problems. It'll cause problems because shit will jump off later on down the line because of that, and decisions will be made. But just based on this, there's no head up on this one. It's just messed up though because I feel like a lot of the shit that they're using, like the lyric part, just pisses me off. Like lyrics, there's
Well,
artist intent.
they're actually heading towards some progression behind it. You see, California was the first people to sign off on that. That it's not admissible no more in court.
Well, that's good because people in LA talk crazy and then they've been banging like that. Like like but
Right,
somebody
right.
says a fucking rap song, a SoundCloud rapper is gonna go to prison for talking about shit on. Come on, man, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Majority
man,
of people they never did that shit.
and it goes against the Constitution because he got the right for freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? So
100%, 100%, 100%. Plus, this is art. They don't put people away from making movies about murders. And you
that's
actually show
facts.
people how to do that shit. And
That's
some of those
facts.
people know very well how to pull that off in these movies. You know what I mean?
That's facts. That's facts. But
you
my
know, but
thing
it's
is, we gotta kind of like in our culture, we got past that. I mean, in hip hop, it's like at first if you ain't really living lyric for lyric, bar for bar, metaphor for metaphor, they ain't gonna adopt you. You know, we got to
right.
kind of get away from that and get, like you said, get back to the art form of it, man. Because even if you is out here with these songs, you shouldn't be doing verbatim for what you doing in the streets, man. Like, come on, man. Come
Definitely not.
on, man.
And I'll never judge anybody for doing what they need to do in life. I mean, there are certain things that certain people need to do. You get put in positions, you need to live. That's the bottom line, and by any means. And that's so I stand on that. But there's also kind of a difference in like the rap culture right now between like the old hip hop heads and the young guys coming up. Very different individuals, like completely different. I don't think the younger crowd has any respect for the OG rappers at all. They like a few of them, but other than that, like that whole academics dusty shit, that was crazy. And people kind of back the academics on. I feel like younger cats at least, they're like fuck these dudes, like like I don't know. So I think it's just different. Like we were saying, like right now we have podcasts with rappers that like were around 20 years ago that were hot. They're still around. You still know who these people are and shit. And now they
Right.
have podcasts and talking to each other. I don't really see that going to be happening for the younger crowd of rappers these days. All shooting at
Well, I
each other.
mean, I mean to connect the dots, the old school artists, right, back in the day, was because it was flip side. Like the rappers looked up to the streets back in the day, so they were kind of around it to emulate it, to put it into form. They wasn't necessarily tapped into the pulse of the streets. It's reversed now. These artists are the pulse of the streets, and they're reporting on the front lines like it's CNN. You know what I'm saying? No different.
That's it.
You know
That's
they
it. That's
they
an outstanding point. To be honest, that's an outstanding point.
yeah,
Um,
they not
what
they
do you
not
think
from
is
the
better for the
outside.
culture? What do you think is better for the culture, reporters or vigilantes? I think the reporters did a better job, and there wasn't much violence.
You said which one is more detrimental, or reporters or
Yeah,
vigilantes?
detrimental. I would think would be like the younger crowd because they're really living it. There's no longevity in that. How
See,
can you
but
base an industry on a on a
but this
on
the
a,
thing
on
though. When you say the youth, I wouldn't necessarily say
oh
they
my,
the destruction because it's like they emulate and they some of the most purest people because it's not like they have a
100%.
motive. they prefrontal cortex ain't even developed enough to even really understand what life is and what they saying and doing in the first place. So they just emulate an environment just like any other species that come around any
That's
environment. You
that's
know, if a
true.
baby born in jail, he gonna be violent.
You just know jail, yeah. That's it is what you know. Yeah. No, I never thought about it that
And we
way.
can't and we can't say, oh, the baby is crazy. No, we look at the conditions. You got to understand, species and any species grow up in them conditions is going to be crazy. What do you mean? And
So
that's
it's
the norm.
yeah, it's I don't know, man. That yeah, you're 100% right because the cats that are at it now are living, they're moving like that in the street. Like nobody told them it was, it was these guys were real, but it was kind of pageantry. You know what I mean? The whole rap
See,
game,
but
like,
but it's a crash out culture. It's like if you
yeah,
don't live that verbatim, then you're
you
not
know,
as valuable as the person who is. But a lot of the times, the dude who living every minute and every second of what he's saying ain't as talented as the other dude who's a little artistic. You know what I'm saying? Like Juice World wasn't street, but he was an artist. What
absolutely.
he
A lot of these cats are. Some of them are really moving in the street. It's just like you said, there's a lot of people around the industry and all right within it that are just living like that. And then you have these artists, and they're all kind of mixed in. But some of them, they cross lines sometimes, and you have artists who are out there really doing it. Plus, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. I wish they just kind of understood, like, yo, get this money and be in this industry, and even if you don't get rich, at least you're doing something. You're gonna be somewhere. It's better than your other options. But what's with this? What's with this? Like almost like an obsession to die or just go all out and then sit in a cage forever. Like what's with that? Nobody when we were coming up, nobody wanted to go to prison. Like if you made a move, it was because you really had to. And these kids do it for like fun on a Friday night.
Nah, I ain't gonna say coming up because you were probably an '80s baby too, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like when I was coming up, dudes kind of use that as a rite of passage. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying they
And
didn't.
yeah, I mean culturally in the hip hop world, they shun the dude who go to work, got a head on the shoulders, and you ain't been to prison, you ain't been to jail. It's like a even an insult by them even asking you that. So yeah, when I come up in my environment, they look down on dudes who ain't did no time, whether it's prison or county. They look down on you.
Well, the chances are, if you're out running the street doing real shit, not everybody gets that lucky. And believe me, if you didn't go to prison, they know who you are. Then it is what it is. Like they know why you didn't go to prison.
Right.
But I'm saying about the rappers, the talented individuals that are actually making the real music, the artists that are in the industry that aren't necessarily going like that, but everybody around them is. Do they see longevity in their careers? Like, do they think they're going to make it to like a Hall of Fame of some type? Like, or do they think they're going to be around in 2 years? Like, do they not care? Is that not what it's about?
It's survival, and that's one thing we got to give Young Thug credit about. I mean, I was following his path from the start. He was rough around the edges. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't what he ended up. He actually grew and became more artistic into culture and everything else. So he kind of grew up out of his shell. You
Okay.
know, but coming off the rip, you got to be a dog off the leash.
I mean,
They ain't gonna respect.
believe me, I know how people have to act in certain areas. I'm thankful I didn't come from one of those areas. I've been in those areas. You know what I mean? I have friends that live there, and I've seen the way they had to act in order just to survive. Just to be able to walk down the street in this country is a difficult thing to do in a lot of places. But once these guys start touching real money, I'm talking artists now, not just crash dummies around the arts. Like I'm talking about real rappers these days, the kids that are making money. How come they don't just dip out, get a few people out, and get the fuck out? Like,
You
why
know
do they?
why?
I know why, but I want to hear what you say. But yeah, I know why. But yeah, definitely.
By that time it's already too late. They done already done them deeds and gotta kind of keep ties on them people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
dip out and desert somebody who done put in some work for you, done that might come to bite you in the butt later on
Yeah.
down
But
the line.
of course. And plus, how do you? I mean, I don't know how I would do that to somebody. Somebody. And yeah, no, 100%. Like that
But it's no
that
different from my fault. It's no different from a soldier who go and do a couple tours with his homeboy over there, and they've been killing and doing everything together, and they got this bond, and it's just like
of course,
you,
of
I
course,
can get $1 million. I'm not leaving you. I don't care, regardless.
of course,
You
of
know,
course.
so
No. Look, when somebody that isn't your blood literally gets in the mix for you and risks their freedom and all that and their safety, like that's different. Like I have a lot of friends like that. You know what I mean? Like I've been through it. Doesn't mean we're fucking shooting each other, but got the shit beaten out of me a few times. But I survived a lot of things because of people that weren't related to me taking care of me. So I know all about that. Everybody does to some extent. And yeah, 100%. And soldiers get to come home. The war technically does end for them. These kids,
See, and,
So,
and that's what that need that's what need to be implemented even in this court case. See, and that's how you know they don't value what an environment will do to you. You
because
understand?
people use that like the other side of that. Like somebody would say, this
Hmm.
environment that this child came from is fucking insane. Like, and then they're like, oh, whatever, we've heard that before. It's like, yeah, because it's fucking true, stupid. Like, you can't be raised in a war zone and be a like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. If the kid's even alive today, it's because he had to make moves in one way or another.
And be right, it's people who will never understand, man. They'll never, you know what? Them be the people who only seen Manhattan. They've never seen East New York to even understand. Like,
No, yeah,
dang,
sure, of course. I mean, there's people who have literally never raised their own hands to defend themselves, not once in their life. Like, that's different. That's different, but there are people like
oh,
that.
okay, I see what you're saying. Never had to have a grasp the concept of having to fight and defend
Of
yourself.
course, of course. People have stuff that happens in their lives all the time. The worst thing that's ever happened to you is still the worst thing that ever happened to you. Somebody shot
And
at
this is
you.
what they don't understand. They don't understand it. It starts in school from elementary. You probably you 9 times out of 10, the people who you end up gunning at and beefing with be the people you was in elementary and middle school with.
Of course, I
You know
mean
what I'm
that's
saying?
the
You
few
know,
people the few people that I have a serious distaste for them in my life are people I grew up with when I was younger. Like certain people, like that shit don't go away.
and see
And this is over nothing. This isn't even over crazy shit. This is just you don't like this person. Now add in serious violence or something against your people, like your family. That's a done deal. And how are you gonna grow up in the same place and see this dude forever? Like
yeah, that's facts.
it's a
And that's
crazy
why we need to
situation.
kill this. We need to let the youth. We need to highlight for the youth to let them see. You know what I'm
But
saying?
see,
Because
the only reason it sucks that might not be noticed is because that's a way of preventing shit like this. That's a way of preventing people from having to come up like this or come up in an environment like that. You know what I mean? It's like it's an obvious warning indicator that there's an issue here. Look at what this small section of the culture, this aspect of music has become so inundated with violence because that's all that people are seeing out here. And it's like you need to do something to fix that, not just solve it when these violence happen. Like, but that's why I feel like this country doesn't give a shit about it. Let's be honest. White, black, soldier, rich, poor, they don't give a shit about you. They really don't. And the fact that Americans think that they do is unbelievable. Like tonight's elections, like I did not see one candidate anywhere in my entire area that had one decent thing about them. And it's sad to say, it was the first time I'm ever not going to vote because there's nothing to vote for, and I
see,
refuse.
but I did. But what I normally do just like any other time. See, they got me in '08, but now I realize the people who ain't got the $1 million to push a propaganda campaign on TV every 5 minutes with a commercial, I vote for them, and I do my due diligence around the locally area, and okay, boom,
Well, that's what I
boom, boom,
do.
boom.
That's generally what I would do. But I'm saying like this year, even when I looked into it, like they say one thing and then say another 2 weeks later. It's insane. It's crazy. Like there's not anybody to vote for here.
See,
It's
but you know it's politics. Okay, so we gonna round it back to the topic that we having on this video. A lot of people don't know that lady in Atlanta that the prosecutor for the YSL came from what, LA.
yeah. Well,
So
she's
she
like,
so she used to that gang politics, and
yeah,
she know
that's
how
what she
to
wants
she know
to
how
do. That's
right,
her.
man.
That's her
So
platform. Is I break up gang shit. Like where you at? Like,
right.
but the fact that she's gonna make her name off of potentially knowing that they were forging evidence. I mean, that's.
See, but any
But who knows if that's
organization, any or if you what's the saying, be rad? If you ain't cheating, you ain't what?
winning or surviving or living or doing
Come
anything.
on. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying to win. We all gonna go in there and try to tweak the algorithm somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying?
But
But
you know
once you
what?
dealing,
Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I didn't believe in ratting either. So the times that I got in trouble, like, I didn't say a fucking thing. And it turned out the two other people I thought were so solid, yeah, they said everything anyway. So I was just happy that I
I feel
took it.
I feel like I feel like it need to be edified. You know, I feel like that whole code not snitching need to be edified. You know what I'm saying? Like
Of
at this
course, but
point in
I'm
time,
saying, so like we grow up knowing that, and when it really comes down to it, like I know for a fact when it's been put to the test with me, I actually stood on it. Like I was happy about that later on because it wasn't nothing, went through and do what I had to do. You know what I mean? But
it's the
like,
and it's the and it's the same shit from back then. Because what happened when your cousin's beating on your ass and you go and tell everybody get their ass whooped,
yeah, hell yeah, and then you get beat up again later.
and then you get beat up later.
Like,
It's the same shit.
cool.
So
Yeah,
they put
exactly.
that coach. They put that whole shit was in the coaches. So by the time we were grown men, we already knew like. Bro, the code was see, but this is the problem though. The code was if we get stopped and it's a gun, don't nobody speak. But my thing that's fucked up and that's wrong is man, that's not gonna produce accountable grown men. If
No.
it's your gun for your protection,
So
don't stick it up under my seat, bro.
yeah, well, that's the situation I'm talking about was something in a car that was put somewhere, and I saw it, and it was just there wasn't enough time, and then it got
Mm.
everybody in trouble. So it is what it is, you know. But so majority of people who are out here doing things understand if they get caught, they should probably be standing up. It's easy to say right here, and then when you're actually doing it, when you're looking at real stuff. But I would like to think that some people would be decent enough to do that. But that's people. See, this criminal justice system, they're a system. They're made up of people. They need to be right 1,000% of the time. They can't even pretend to think about fucking around. And if you got somebody over there who's putting a false seal on a fucking fake grand jury indictment to get evidence that otherwise is inadmissible, holy God, that's like Jesus Christ, man. Like that's
Wasn't that the
crazy.
same problem with the Breonna Taylor case where they didn't they forge some shit then?
You know, I didn't look into the paperwork on that one. Like I read what had
Because
happened.
look,
I
they
just thought
said
that
that
was
they
so
said now
horrible.
that they got rid of no knock warrants because of that.
Well,
Because I
I
think
think
I think they did something wrong on the legal paperwork. So hopefully this look, hopefully the judge on this case frowned upon the prosecution. Look at them kind of tainted now, 'cause since y'all forging documents, he kind of be like morally like, look, y'all, come on,
yeah, I would
you
hope
know.
so. I hope so. And if he's not, I hope he gets super pissed off and says, like, I really wanted this to go down. You assholes fucked it up, and now I got to let him go. It's your fault. It could be the other way around.
Let me ask you a question, B-Rad.
I just hope he's honest about the law, and that's it.
Let me ask you a
That's all I
question.
ask.
Do you think this right here, this new evidence should warrant bail?
That, that was some. Thank you for bringing that up. You on point. Yeah, that's the other thing now. So if you get rid of this murder, why are you holding these guys in prison now or jail now? Like you got to give them bail. So yeah, that right there is a big L for that side for the prosecution because once people see them out, the public court of opinion is they're free. That's it, and that has a lot to do with it.
See,
So
and it's gonna be a little corruption if they don't let him out for bail because the judge has to say, listen, if y'all force this document to produce this murder, and which is the foundation of the case,
yeah,
he already know we got proffers. He already know we got people cooperating. But by the book, I gotta let him go.
and the only thing
Like
at
come
that
on.
point, yeah, and at that point in this case, the only thing that's even been proven is the fact that the prosecutor tried to cheat. Like he might the guys who are on trial might be innocent, but we know that you guys have already tried to cheat. So that's just like, yeah, who knows?
Right.
Like, I would love to hear the fucking ridiculous answer they're going to give when they don't allow that and they just continue to prosecute.
I mean,
Or,
even when
or even
trials.
worse, what if they leave this evidence admissible, just breaking their own rules because they know what happened
Mm,
now?
but
You know,
regardless of that, when they go to trial, the jury is gonna have to hear the fact that the police did that. So even the jury gonna kind of frown and look down like, hold on, that's
I'll
not
be
the
honest.
way it's supposed to go.
I'll be honest. I've thank God I've never had to do that as of yet. It hasn't. I haven't wound up in a courtroom, so that's awesome as far as being a juror. But like I'll be honest, like if I got called up and like I wound up on like a murder case or some shit, and they were putting the guy on for murder, and like it was a state where they put them like what with lethal death penalty and stuff. Yeah, I
Hmm.
don't think I could be on a case like that because if they were all saying he's guilty, it's like I'm not gonna be the last one on this to co-sign this man's death. Like I want nothing to do with that shit. I was
Oh,
thinking
so
about
you
that.
don't want to be judge, jury, executioner. You don't want no parts of that.
I don't want to be the final answer. I don't want to go to bed knowing that night that if I had said something different, somebody would be still alive. Like I'm not
See, but
necessarily
this the
cool with that.
thing though.
Especially when I don't
That's
know, dude.
circum
Yeah, but when you see the evidence, yeah, I guess, but fuck that.
that's
That's
circumstantial.
better shit.
It's circumstantial though, because I can give you an example where you would love to be on a jury trial to send that man to the chamber. You get what I'm saying?
Oh my god, I believe me, I know. I just thought about it too. I was like, what if you really wanted this fucker to go? But like, that's an evil I just don't need in my. No, man, I'm a civilian. I don't got to be deciding people's fate. Y'all figure that out. Like, that's
Hey,
crazy. That's crazy.
man, but hopefully, some new developments will come out. We'll see. Hopefully we'll see what's going on because, that's strong. If that's solid, you said you seen the work, right?
Yo, I saw a video of the actual paperwork. It's not like somebody wrote it up and put it up there. It was this guy got it
Have
somehow.
you heard of Crown TV?
I maybe I watch so much shit. I don't even know half the shit I watch. I have my ones that I
Yeah,
subscribe to, but I watch everything.
that.
Which one is it?
Yeah, but he they do the whole breakdown with the paperwork, the voiceovers, the translations, everything over there, man. So,
On the
um,
original case, you mean? Or on this?
any case, he do all cases.
Okay, okay. Oh, so he's
Yeah,
like a breakdown. I thought you meant somebody who was
yeah,
reporting on. I was only able to find
nah.
one or two videos about the recent update right here. There's not much out there about it. Like, not a lot of people are talking about it because, again, it's
And
just all it is a paper. It's paperwork being filed by the defense, but the defense is saying that we found evidence of this. So, like, that
well, if
doesn't
they
sound like
found it, what if I mean, if they found it, there's some foundation to it. Then they're not gonna just
that's
file
what I'm
ghost
saying.
paperwork.
Yeah,
Right,
this
right.
isn't bullshit like saying, oh, well, you can't prove it, so you should let them get bail. This is like, no, we found inadmissible evidence that was forged. Like, that's a big thing. So it's not like this is being like looked over right now, but that's the paperwork that's been submitted, so they're going to start getting into it. You know what I mean? It's not like they're presiding on this and come out Monday and say they're free. It just got submitted, and it's just paperwork. It may not even be acknowledged.
Especially
How,
if Gunner's not implemented in that, you know what I'm saying?
how
That
they have
them
him, how they have him in there on that fucking one bullshit video they made about the potential murder, which I don't even understand how it ties back to him in general. But the fact that he's in there, that bothers me. He didn't do shit. He didn't do anything. He just caught up in this one.
well, they said they got some Shady Park stuff going on over there. So, you know,
Well, once they're inside, you mean?
nah, some shit that happened amongst his clique. Cause you know
Yeah,
he ain't
that
from.
was the shooting at the Citgo station. That's what I'm talking about. But like, they
Okay.
have no evidence on that one. It's all just hearsay bullshit. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, at least from what I saw of it. And this was in like a good part of town and shit. Like, it was down the road from where they're from, but this was like near like the mall, like at a gas station, wide the fuck open. And they're saying like people popped it off. It's like, well, if that happened, then you should have caught him. And if you didn't, don't just put it on the next guy you get. I just
Well,
don't see him
hey,
having done that at all. At
hey,
all.
it goes to show how strong a RICO is. How it's minuscule the evidence they can have against you, but they can hold you like you the ringleader. You know, it
That's the
goes to show.
unbelievable thing. Is when they developed the RICO case, it's because they were dealing with people that they couldn't get. They developed it because of John Gotti, basically. They had tried him twice and he beat them. And if they tried him for a third time on this shit and he beat them, they could never touch him again. So he was
Well, I
about to
mean,
turn.
how long? Well, correct me if I'm wrong. It was initially started to um to go against the mafia, but they they went against the president and said, look, we got some pictures you not necessarily want to get out. So then he redirected it to the Black Panther Party, and then later on they came and doubled back with the RICO
Okay,
and stuff.
okay, 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 okay. But
Yeah,
either way, look, this is their way of taking down what they call a criminal organization. Because it's different. Because once look, if you're an individual or even a couple people out doing a thing, you got a small crew, that's one thing. But if you're an organization with layers, like it's damn near impossible to get into one that's solid enough. You know what I mean? Like, and then you could potentially, by their laws, never get like finished. So they came up with this law, but the RICO law like violated so many set laws. You know what I mean? Like they just basically it just says like if you do anything bad, we can pick up you and like 25 of your friends and send you to prison forever. That's pretty much what it says
I mean,
at
but they're
the end of the
making it
day.
worse now because America said any gangs are domestic terrorists. So
Terrorists,
that's
like,
why
yeah,
we need to
drug
throw some
dealers,
medicine out there and let these kids know, don't call yourself gang. You can say militia because that's in the
that's
Constitution.
legal. In fact, that's
That's legal.
encouraged. That's
E- e-
encouraged.
e- Exactly. So why don't y'all say that my militia? Stop saying gang. You're gonna
Just
get flagged.
you guys got to do a little better hiding. Seriously, like that's just be a little
Get
more.
a little smarter. Get a little
Yeah, for
like you
real.
said, militia.
Exactly.
Same
That's a good
thing.
one. It was like them redneck white boys out there in camo playing fucking.
It's the
Those
same
are
thing, but
dudes.
it's just legal language that's covered. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? We
absolutely.
can call
That's
ourselves a
what I
militia.
attention to you. 100%. 100%.
Matter of
And
fact,
it's,
why don't y'all start a militia, do some LLC, nonprofit charity work, get some legal paperwork going, do the same thing you've been doing. I ain't saying stop doing your life, but my thing is try to be a little bit more smarter behind it. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't having a good lawyer ain't all the fight. It ain't all
yeah,
about just having a good lawyer.
there's some things that having a lawyer doesn't even matter for. You know what I mean? Really, it doesn't matter because, like, you're caught red handed and done for. Like, you don't need a lawyer. You need a fucking priest.
So did they say what everybody was facing?
No, they still haven't come with that. I mean,
Mm.
but the prosecutors keep pushing off too. Like, that's not usually what you do when you got somebody nailed. You know, what I mean, if you got somebody dead to rights, you want to go in and get at them. And now
Right,
they're waiting,
right.
waiting, waiting. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think they don't
But do
have
you
it.
think? I mean, it's 28 people. Do you think it's so much evidence? It's just like their lawyers is trying to get behind everything.
There is a lot of evidence, but I think the entire indictment was what 97 pages long, something like that, and it
Well,
named.
that's not too crazy.
It's not so bad for 28 people. That's not bad at all.
I've seen
And it's like,
200. Yeah, that's not bad.
yeah, like they're not bringing that much. And then on top of it, they got lyrics. Like the fact that you're even trying to use a lyric to back up means that your original point isn't strong enough on its own.
But listen, hypothetically, have you seen some of these lyrics that they're talking about?
Oh, they're very descriptive. That's a whole different thing. I mean, but
Be rad, man. I mean, hypothetically, why would you just give them, make a plate and just give it to them? You know, just
I said that early on. I said, keep talking about shit, and they're gonna come for you every time because you're bringing fucking heat. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Like
not
you
even
get away
that.
with
They're doing
one
like,
thing, you don't even discuss that with shit with your friends until like 20 years later. You know what I mean? Like you leave that shit alone. We got away.
you
These
know,
guys
back
made
then,
recordings of it
it,
on the internet. That's crazy.
it's it's a eye look. We connect eyes. We both know what's up, and it ain't nothing to talk about. But when once you saying hypothetically they be saying, oh, it was May 13th and I caught him on Washington Street, and when he was
Yeah,
in the blue, it's just like,
yeah, giving license plates and numbers and shit, and then you got cats
uh,
actually like who was this dude who just got picked up or just got in trouble or maybe even got killed? I just heard this story recently, but like he was basically recreating his crimes in his music videos. I mean, very close, like to the point where the detectives saw it, they knew what the deal was.
recently, or this is something like a
I
couple
think
of
it was
years ago.
very recently. Like I was watching a video and I think somebody got popped and they were like killed and they were like, what happened with the whole situation? They were like, he was being looked at real crazy, like he was looking at prison and all this. I'd have to hear it again.
Hey,
Again,
but
I
look,
watched so
I
many
was watching First
stupid.
48, and they had prosecuted the dude on his lyrics when he said, "You won't make it to see your daughter." He said the dude name. He said, "You won't live to see your daughter. You won't live to see your 18th birthday." And then
Yeah,
end up killing the dude. And they like, bro, but you said right here, you won't make it to see, and then he didn't. So it's like,
yeah, that's pretty premeditated homicide right there. Pretty bad.
hey,
Yeah, I can't watch that
but
shit. I can't watch First 48 because whenever they get these kids in the fucking box, man, they don't even the cops don't even apply pressure and these people fall apart. The worst is watching how simple it is when you're not the one in the chair. How simple it is to see what they're trying to use against you. Like they just ask you the same question 5 different ways and you get 5 different answers and it's all the same question. It was insane. Like, but I can't watch these people who just get beat up on by these cops
hey,
who
what's
just
his
like
name? His
what's
name
that?
Max, the
Yeah. Oh
dog.
yeah. He's
He,
loud. I'm
he
so
ain't
sorry.
having that. He know he
No,
good.
he's
He
not.
said,
He's a
he said,
spoiled
look,
little
you gonna
brat.
get up off there and walk me soon, man.
Yo, he's been straight grilling me and stop it. Stop it. If I
Hey, but
let you
look,
out.
let me bring a little perspective and insight. All right, now we know all this is going on, but the major thing is, what is YSL gonna do after all this is over with? Let's say everybody get off. I want to know what's the message and what would they say? How are you gonna serve the youth after this? Because you have to
I was
serve the youth after this.
I was gonna say that they're not. If there's no way they go back to their old thing, they're literally gonna be running toy funds and doing barbecues until they're 60. Like that's the only way these guys stay out of jail. If they do anything, they're done for. But I hate to say it because in America, I would wish that our justice system actually was just. And if this happens, then this is a breach, and they need to fucking just sorry, like you fucked up. You're the law. You have to be perfect, and now you weren't. And now these guys go free because of it. And if it's anything but that, like then our legal system is just cheating for its own win, and that's cool when you have a moral and
See,
just goal. But what happens when you don't, and we can't stop you anymore? So that's why it needs to be held to such a high standard because we can't risk giving something up today because we know it's right because tomorrow it'll be done for corruption. So we can't allow that.
that's true. But we have to put it on ourselves too because a lot of the people are ignorant to the law. We need to learn the law enough to let it work for our benefit.
Well, that's the
You
thing. The,
know.
re- the reason I even look at law like from time to time, and I mean basic, skim the top, because I've heard stories of people who were down years, and then once they started studying the law library, and then all of a sudden they look at their paper, they're like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like, and then like almost easily they're able to get an appeal. and it's just like, whoa, like you could be doing real time and like not be guilty like that. I mean, we know that that happens on high
Mm-hmm.
profile shit, but just a lot of random ass people, stupid things that just need to be brought to light and they're let go. It's kind of crazy. Again, it's not often, but it's possible. You know, it's
Hey,
like when you get home from work. When you get home from work and you check your check, you don't expect it to be wrong. A lot of people don't check their check when they get paid. A lot of
right.
people don't get paid when
Taxes.
they get paid.
That's facts. That's fact. A lot of people don't realize that if y'all you and your you driving with your people, and let's say I got a gun, but if
Mm-hmm.
you driving B-Rad and they pull you over for speeding and they end up searching me and finding the gun, that's a legal search and seizure. You had no right to ID me when you stop in B-Rad for a traffic stop.
Exactly. You take my license, don't worry about who's here. But I'll tell you what, every time I've ever been pulled over, they pull licenses off everybody.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
and that's how
I,
you.
I see things that I know are law now that when I was younger and went through, and I'm like, wow, that was blatantly illegal. And
Blatantly violating my rights. Blatantly
I've seen
violating my
things in
rights.
court that I know now are just like, my God, it's appalling that that actually happened. And this is basic court. I'm not talking about real trial shit. This is nonsense that shouldn't even be like an issue. And I've seen people getting a lot of trouble for shit that's not
Hey,
even
but back to
legal.
connect the dots back to what we talking about, right? So Pennsylvania, like a year or two ago, I think it might have been 2016 if I ain't mistaken, they passed a law where they said the police have to get permission from whoever is the owner of the rental car. You can't just, you know, you can't just call Hertz. If
Right.
so, if Michelle rented a car from you from Hertz, you can't call Hertz and get the permission to search. You gotta get it from
No, you got to get it
Michelle.
from her because that's her private paperwork and she signed
Right,
it. And the
right.
company has to honor that, not because it's legally binding, but because they said in their write up in their paperwork, they said, if anything happens, we don't give the information out. It's still on you. So based on their own rules for their company, it has to go to her. And then these pieces of
Exactly.
shit just make false paperwork and get it. And they made a fake jury, a grand jury of all things, a fake grand jury seal. Like you got balls, man.
That should be the court should consider that disrespectful because as high as the grand jury is, they
But
should send something down.
there should be people going to prison over this type of shit. Like you just try to take lives away from 28 men who could potentially be innocent because of you.
More importantly, the grand jury should say, "Listen, for even mimicking us, we about to throw this whole case out."
And again, even if someone were to say like, you know what, they're guilty, we know they're guilty, like it doesn't matter. Like, no, it does matter. All right, let's say, like I said, if the justice system goes to cheat on what we know is a moral and correct thing, right? They're not wrong. It's wrong to cheat, but they're not wrong. These guys are bad and they're guilty. I'm not saying this case. I'm talking about some other case. And they go in and they cheat in order to get that. But morally, it's correct. This time, that's still not a win because now you've just opened the floodgates. So what happens the next time someone tries to do this and it's not moral, but it's the major opinion and it's not moral? And what happens when it's against you? And now there's no justice. So what? We can't play that game.
Hey, to add to your point, nail it on the hammer on the head. What you said about that? What was the movie with Gerald Butler and Jamie Foxx?
Oh, uh,
You see
yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
you see how the legal system fucked him,
Yeah,
and he
100%.
worked and he worked the loophole to come
There's
on, man.
yeah, no, it's crazy. Like it's crazy when you think about it. How like I just said, like you could think you're doing the right thing. You know, like look, we know that they're guilty, so if we just fudge this one thing, we can at least get them because nobody can get them. I understand that. You know, I'm not gonna say I don't. If you have a soul and you're a decent person, then you don't want to see rapists and shit walking around. All right.
Right, right.
But what happens when the next person who comes up and does the same shit isn't right, or they're doing it for the wrong reason, and then there is no justice anymore. So what's the point? You can't let that
See,
happen. Not
I think justice is for kids. You know what I'm saying? I think we gotta kind of get up out that mind state. Justice. It's like,
yeah.
uh,
Plus, I
nah.
think we need a revision of the rules because none of us were here when the rules were made, and it was a long time ago. They're antiquated. They're fucking ridiculous. But that's the reason why you need good local politicians because they're the ones who
Right.
make changes, and that's the most important thing. People think it's important to vote for the president. No, it's important to vote for the people who run your town, and that's where that
Locally.
comes actually
That's
is
where it starts locally.
yeah, law reform based on small little people you probably never heard their name, but there's a ton of them out there right now trying to get elected.
See, but I think that it's enough of the common folk who have like a who have a disdain for Republican, Democrat, and liberal that we have enough numbers to create a party, and I think that's what need to happen.
I heard
You know what
something
I'm saying?
scary a few weeks ago. Actually, a few months back, I heard it, and I had to check if it was real. And it turns out it is true. It's so messed up. It's so messed up. So yes, you have a good point. I think this whole like the two party thing in our country that doesn't work. That's polarizing. You know what I mean? Like it's one or the other. Like,
What it's more than two. You got conservative, liberal, Democrat,
yeah, but
Republican.
bottom line,
Okay,
conservative.
you see what I'm saying? They all
They all
okay.
boil down. You know, I mean, they're all subsets. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know where they came from. It's one crew and then the other, and it's pit against them. But so let's say you have a third party candidate who pops up and is doing really well, and it's almost looking like this cat's going to win, which actually did happen with a guy named Ross Perot back in the day. He was a big oil man, and he wanted to be the president. And he had some decent views, but everybody kind of looked at him like a joke. But I think that I was very young, so I don't remember him specifically. I'm not
Right.
going to go back and study it, but who knows? I heard he had some decent points, but he was looking like he was going to win. And I think it was like Bush Senior or Reagan and whoever he ran against. They came together during the election, and they put in this law that says if you're a third party candidate and you get elected president, only 60% of your electoral college votes count. So
Mm.
they nullified any chance of us ever having a
Hmm.
third party president.
Well, I mean, because they can do that because they don't realize it's the elected, the selected, and then the electoral college. You know what I'm saying? The electoral vote. So they don't
100%.
understand what's going on with that.
Well, that's another thing. It's like the shit
We
that they
seen it
think
with Bush and what happened in '03? We seen it.
was Bush and Gore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
Al
seen it
Gore.
then.
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
That
That was
was
a crazy
crazy.
one. Because then,
That's
because they found ballot boxes, unchecked ballot boxes in Florida, in the state that his brother runs, and Bush is
come
just
on,
dumping them
man.
in empty
Come
farmhouses.
on, man.
Like, I remember hearing that. I was like, yo, that's crazy. And that's why
Blatant.
this whole voter, the fraud thing, the stop the steal, all that shit. Like, yo, they cheat on both sides every year. Like, why are any of you surprised? Like, it's not new.
Right. The point is just to get the resources to sell the people out at the end of the day. We need a blue collar. We need a blue collar team, blue collar party.
And yeah, we do. And the thing is we're not going to get it because everybody's so pissed off at each other right now about a whole lot of nothing for the most part. There's definitely problems in our culture. There's no doubt there's problems in American culture, but a lot of the problems today, a lot of the hot topics, ain't even problems, man. It's
See,
not
but the
even
thing
issues.
is, look, but we have something to model, right? Because no disrespect and no dislike, but the gay movement, we can kind of look and see how they work politically. They play effective
Yes, it,
strategics, and got the result. They played it right and went and got a politician and a pack, and now they have rights. Same thing with the Asians of America. They
yeah.
played it politically. They got the numbers. They got a pack. Now they got laws.
And that's what
You
you
know.
need to you need to organize. Basically, is what you need to do. You need to organize and you need to get together. There's a religious group that I live near, a large religious community, and I got to hand it to them as far as playing the way that like the laws were set up in this country. They do it perfect. Their religious groups get all their people together. I mean, thousands of them, and they vote specifically for one candidate locally. Now
You
that
talking about
candidate,
the Hasidic
very much
community?
so. They
Okay.
yes, so their yeshivas will say this is the way we go, and everybody goes with it, whether or not they agree. They just do it because that's the community, and we do that, and they're all about their religion and their community, which you got to respect that. You have to respect that, even if you don't like that community, you have to respect that. But
Right.
they block vote. They block vote, so they can guarantee someone coming up in local election. We can guarantee you 5,000 votes, and that's the most American shit
It's
I ever heard
respect.
of.
It's
You know,
respect.
so
Shalom to all my Hasidic Jews. Shalom.
absolutely, and the Orthodox, ultra Orthodox, and all them. But yeah,
Right.
no, it's actually a pretty wild community too. If anybody here knows about it, we got people out of state who might not even know what that is. They're big in New York. Um, they're big in certain states in the Northeast a
I
lot.
know a few of them, but what's crazy about the Hasidics is that you can tell how the older ones are a little bit more conservative, but you can tell like some of the younger ones be getting sturdy. I've seen a couple
Oh,
of Hasidics getting sturdy. The
no,
youth.
listen. I saw firsthand somebody talking shit one day in front of Bradley's, and these two Hasidic kids took off, beat the kid ran. Like they don't play games.
What?
Yo, in this neighborhood up here, bro, the neighborhood that I lived by, they get fucked with a lot by another community right next to them back in the day. It's not so bad anymore, but bro, yeah, hard. But yeah, I
Hold on,
mean,
both 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 Jews.
no, no, I have a
Oh,
whole other.
like okay, I ain't gonna get into politics. Okay, bet.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to speak on this because no, not worth it in my area. Real shit happens here. There's a story that came out a few years ago that there was a family that was in one of these yeshivas that didn't want to vote for this person, and
Hmm.
they casted their vote the opposite way. And a younger kid from that yeshiva firebombed this dude. back window that night at like 3 in the morning, and it just so happened the guy was downstairs getting a drink and saw something out the sliding door. Next thing you know, a Molotov cocktail comes right through the window, smashes, and sets the whole house on fire. And if they had been asleep,
Hey,
they'd be dead.
hey, but look, they deal with treason in their nation the way they deal with treason. I mean,
That's what I'm
so I
saying, but
gotta kind
that's how serious they take it. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
that's how serious people take this. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people out here who
right,
don't care about politics, and there's other people out here willing to die for that shit. You know what I mean?
right.
And whether it's politics based in your religion, your community, whatever it may be, but there's people that really, really go seriously hard. But yeah, just as a community, just the way I see that they were doing that now, there's been like a movement to not allow block voting like that, like indiscriminate voting, because you're taking away people's rights technically. I don't know. It's a whole big issue and something that'll get figured out in 100 years.
We need a new system, man. I think they need to revamp Bernie Sanders. The way he was coming. I think we need to kind of revamp that, bring that back. But
I think he was the best candidate we've seen in a long time, only for the fact that he said the same shit for 50 years straight.
yeah, that's true. That's
He was
true.
on the same tip the whole time. I
That's
mean, you
true.
grow and learn, but he never switched up. You see a lot of candidates can't get in on one side, they switch up. It's like, well, do you care
Right.
about the law and the politics of it, or you just want to be that guy? And it's sad, man. Like we need decent candidates, but yeah, we definitely we need serious overhaul in a lot of our
We need
systems.
politicians because even in the YSL case, if we have politicians in the hip hop culture, that can work to our benefit. I guarantee if we had politicians in the field, they would have been got rid of this lyrics in the courtroom stuff. They would have been got rid of that. Working in our favor, firsthand. They put the money, the whole thing.
It's true, and I'm surprised that isn't kind of like an underlying tone in the hip hop community. Like, yo, get your shit together and become like be a real gangster, be a politician. Like those people are the real gangsters in this country.
What? Not even that. Not we.
No, but
It's
I'm
to
just
the
saying like
point.
nobody even thought of that. But I'm saying for a good president. But I'm just saying I can't believe not even anybody on a nefarious tip thought like we should get somebody in the office. Like,
I mean,
can't
we
stand
have
that.
enough. We have enough billionaires and millionaires in hip hop. We ain't even necessarily got to push the culture to be a politician. We can go and buy them now, the same way they buy them.
That's true. That yeah, that's okay. All right, I like yeah. You know what? That's
This is our program, huh? Implement it. Here go your money. Boom, got boom. There we go.
and if you just do it legally, you find out just how crude and cutthroat you can be legal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you don't need to take it to the streets. You just need to be educated on this. But like the people in general, just the everyday working class people, the people who are just trying to get home to their family at the end of the day, that kind of stuff. Like those are the ones who are getting sacrificed by the government, by people in the street, but they're just taking it. You know what I mean? And they're the ones who are really getting hurt by this, and they're just too busy to get organized and do anything about it. I tried to avoid politics my entire life. I knew it was bad luck. I got bar rules: no religion, no politics, and they're not gonna be no problems in your life. Believe what
Listen,
you believe, but be quiet about it. But it's scary.
no man on this earth will ever avoid politics. There's no way possible.
That's the thing. And even if the longer you try to ignore it, the crazier you get about it. Because dude, I can't watch like local news anymore because one, a lot of it's bullshit, but two, the shit they talk about, I just like, dude, it drives me insane. I can't believe
But
it.
any thinker know, like, right, that anything that's going on right now, we done foreseen years before it even came. For one, for
Of
two,
course,
we take bits and pieces from different, boom, 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 and then ingest it. Like Al Jazeera, whatever it is, I'll take it and pull it from.
100%. Actually, I used to watch a lot of their stuff. India's got great coverage of stuff because it's a different story than what we hear here. But yeah, it's just our country's pretty broken right now, and it
Yeah.
looks like it's getting really scary with a lot of other shit too.
In
Like
any other countries, do they prosecute their musicians off their lyrics? In any other country?
I seriously doubt it, but I don't think that many other countries have people sliding left and right and then making tracks
Hold on
about it.
now. Nah, that's not. See, like
Well, I
that's
mean,
not
England,
true.
England, England gets it in. I'll give them that. They've been
Brazil,
going for years.
Brazil, real.
Well,
England gets it.
you get into South America, it's a whole different story. I'm talking like first world countries, like heavy duty first world countries.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Brazil's crazy, but I mean, go out in the Middle East, that shit's fucking medieval right now out there, man.
Oh, you
Like,
matter of fact, you said London. They did prosecute some dude off. He said something about some stabbing on a drill song, and they got him
fuck yeah,
behind it.
yo, they all about the knife play over there because they don't have guns like that, so
Right,
they're,
right.
oh man, they're hawking
Which is
people up left and
which
right.
is worse because it's
Yo,
easy
they're
to
running
shoot
down an
somebody.
American rappers up when they go in there now. Like,
Yeah. If you ask me, they tougher because anybody can shoot. It takes something different to pull that knife out.
yeah, that's different, bro. Getting up real close and feeling that, that's different. That's different, you
Hearing
know?
hearing that skin pop and feeling that,
Yeah, for
that
real.
that's a whole different thing,
Bouncing off a
man.
bone and shit, you know, that,
Right.
that's shit. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, definitely. I mean, even just catching the fade shooting the fair one straight up is far more difficult to deal with than shooting, because if you shoot, it's over. You don't know what happened, or they don't know what happened. It's a done deal. But like you get the shit beaten out of you. I think these kids are just scared out here. I think some are really dumb and some are really scared.
I mean, but I think being scared comes with being a teen anyway. What
A
aren't you
hundred
scared
percent,
of?
100%. That's why you don't even be putting yourself in that kind of shit. You don't know nothing yet, and you're out here picking who lives and dies, and you don't know
Well, nah, I
shit.
wouldn't even say that. I'll take that back. That was kind of contradictory because I feel like the youth don't even know the fears of consequences. I think like me now at my age, I'm kind
A
of
hundred percent.
facing my mortality. So every little thing to me is just like, you know, it's death to me. But it's like, nah, you got a flu. And it's like, oh, okay. See,
I,
but when
I
I was
I
20,
feel like when you're younger, something happens. It's like the end of the world. But then as you get older, like you take enough bumps, and you're like, all right, listen, it's gonna suck, but this ain't the end, you know.
right?
But I think also like, man, I think it's kind of crazy like how you can prosecute children, like try like a 14-year-old as an adult. Like, no, come on, man.
See, but
Like,
they're doing away with that because all the Congress and everybody has already admitted about the prefrontal cortex. They already know it's not developed, and
it's
I
gonna
was
take
having a
time.
conversation. You said what?
It always takes time when it's dealing with science, but you should just understand, like when you were a child, you were nothing like an adult. Even when you're a legal adult in this country, you're still a fucking child in my eyes. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
how about this though? How about this? I was having a conversation with a doctor and they was telling me basically how they they done the numbers and the science to know that girls prefrontal cortex develop faster than boys. So why would you have them in school at the same time doing the same thing when it's really pipelining them for penitentiary or for work at best case? And they
yeah,
know that, and they know it because
wait a minute.
a young boy can't sit in class and learn, and it's totally different.
Well, that's why like we're talking about like reform that's needed in this country in general. Like the whole system needs it, not just the legal system and all that stuff and the prison system, but like just the way we teach children. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work. It works like X amount of the time. Like nah, there's better ways, and there's other countries that do it better. Like for everything America is and what the average American stands for, which is decent. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like our government may look bad to a lot of people out there, but like the average American person is a decent person. They truly are.
Right, right.
They just want to fucking do what they want to do and live their life and be free to the extent
Well,
of.
hopefully, what you think? You think what another month or something go by before we get some new developments with this case?
This one, I don't know. If this paperwork's real, we might hear about it pretty quick.
Mm.
It depends.
They
I
need
don't
to give
know.
him bail, man, because and the sad thing about it is, his baby mother just got killed like before. Was it either before the
It was
indictment?
right before. It was right before, and that was brutal. That was brutal,
See,
brother.
see, and that made me think that they was playing chess, like, oh yeah, hit him now because you know what I'm saying?
Of
Because
course, of
who
course.
the kid's gonna be with, you
Well,
know?
that's like we were talking the other day, like with the whole with the whole takeoff shooting and stuff like that. Like there was an article that came out. Granted, it was on like Radar Wire or something like that. Yeah, it was RadarWire.com, I think. But I read it and it said it was like that. There's going to be charges being brought up on takeoff in May about a rape or something like that. So it's like that's that
Oh, come on,
assassination
come
thing.
on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they do though. That's the
Oh,
assassination of
okay,
the
see, I get
character.
what you're saying. No, what it is too, that they assassinate your character, but what they try to do
And now
is
your
sue
murder
the.
doesn't matter.
No, no, not even. Okay, that too, but what they're doing is suing the estate. They're trying to empty the estate.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, definitely, yeah. That's just that's a whole other
Yeah,
aspect. Like, let's get that money out because that's
civilly,
what
he
they do.
gone. It's gonna be hard to fight it. You know, he
Yeah,
can't fight it for himself. The lawyers are gonna be like, hey, sue him
100%,
civilly.
100%. And what I don't mean that because he was being brought up potentially. I don't even know this is true. You know what I mean? I read it
Hmm.
on a website. And they're a pretty decent website from what I'm told and the research I've done, but that doesn't mean shit. Like I said, New York Times lies.
So
But
you saying but you think they have, since because of this new findings, they'll come with something that we'll find some new development soon.
I think what they do is just like anytime something happens, and if they don't want it to go a certain way, they'll make you look bad and just the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion is pretty heavy duty. Especially if
So
you
so
get.
let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you think a forged grand jury look?
I think it's the ultimate worst thing you could possibly do. Forging evidence.
Really?
Yeah,
You think it's a
absolutely.
10 out of 10?
For the justice system, yes, they need to be held to a different standard. Yes, absolutely. I don't doubt a person.
Mm.
Not at all. For a person to do that, That's basic shit. The justice system that is law, that's different. You need to be held to the utmost perfect standard, or else we have nothing in this country. If we know for a fact that our
Okay.
law is completely
I
fucked,
get what you're saying because if you can forge a grand jury, you can basically go in anybody's door.
you can do anything. That's the most
Yeah.
difficult. That's the whole crux of their case
Because I'm
right there.
sitting here trying to think what could be worse than that, but it's like, damn, nothing really because they can forge some evidence on you. That ain't necessarily shit. But if they can get any warrant to do anything, yeah.
The only more egregious, unjust thing you could do is just no trial, straight to straight to prison, which we done. We have guys serving prison right now from other countries in our country right now who have never faced a judge, not once.
I mean, that's what a plea bargain is, though, right?
No, this is I'm talking about. This is on some terrorist shit. Like they throw all the rules out the
Oh,
window
we
when they
talking about Guantanamo Bay type shit.
exactly. But
Oh, okay.
that you have to understand that's the government doing that, and it trickles down. So like if
See,
they do
but
it
this the
there,
thing though, we can't blame the government because they tell you if you are labeled a terrorist, you forfeit your rights.
yeah. But
You
do you know
have
how
no
many
rights.
people? You know how many people's names are on those terrorist lists, terrorist watch lists that they know damn well are not terrorists, but they just put you on there, and now you're in a jam.
Well, I'm gonna say that who I'm gonna ask you this: who said protect yourself against foreign and domestic terrorists?
But that was
Um,
that was in the hold
the
on.
Constitution, right?
That's in the original Constitution because that's the verbatim they use for the law of why you have like a gun or weapons in general is defense against tyrannical government and for those things as
So
well. But
why can't we never argue that point? Like I'm defending myself against the domestic terrorists. Like the
we'll see
government can be.
that's the whole thing. If you dare defend yourself against your own government, which a lot of people have had their rights to do a lot of times, you're instantly labeled a terrorist now, so you're done. Like that's just like I mean we saw that happen in Waco, Texas. They went down there and they went after that church group, whatever it was. I can't think of the name.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And there was a lot of that happening back then because they were raiding religious compounds, but these people were on some different shit,
But they
But
was on some cult shit, and didn't they shoot first?
I don't. I they somebody lit that place up on fire, and then they started shooting, and then they killed a lot of people in there. It was crazy. But I'm just saying. But if you feel so vindicated that you're right and that you're being messed with by the government, you really can't even say that you're right, and you
So
can't say
y'all hear B-Rad said, hey, forging a grand jury document is a 10 out of 10 disrespect. Like they need to treat that
I
accordingly.
think any kind of lying or falsification of anything on the government's part or on like the prosecution on the state, anything, because you're held to a higher standard. You're not an individual. You're trying a person. A person is capable of anything, but a collective of people who are there to uphold the law need to be held to the highest of standards. Or else, what do we have a country for? Why aren't we just out
And
here running roughneck like crazy, doing whatever we want?
and we need to salute Young Thug lawyer for doing the due diligence because who you
This
know
guy's a
if he
beast.
because he must have caught them like hold on, 1 plus 1 this ain't equaling 2. So we gotta kind of salute because sometimes them lawyers will skip right over that. You'd be like, yo, my ticket was right there. Well, how did you miss that?
But I mean, it's amazing that he caught it, or well, excuse me, that their team caught it. But the fact that I mean, how many eyes on the other side looked at that information and knew it wasn't real and let it go?
Mm.
People had to. It's not like one person handled that. It's a grand jury sealed indictment. Like who wrote it? Like no judge. They're like, hey, wait, this is my district. How did they fucking get that? Nobody said that. Nobody noticed that they just popped up with like the illest evidence ever. But it was like I'm just saying
Hey,
that came across people's eyes and they let it slide, and that's fucking
if,
scary. Now you're just as
if
bad
I
as going after.
if I was his lawyer, I would bring that up at every trial, every hearing, everything,
It should
every
just
second.
should just end that case right then and there. It's like, no, you cheated on the biggest piece of evidence. Like we believe nothing you say. And by the way, you're coming back to court in 2 months, and we're gonna throw you in a box somewhere because you just
So
try
let
to.
me ask you this: so scot free, they get off scot free out of
I don't
a technicality.
know.
What's
See,
the
I don't know the law. I'm just saying that's how it should be in my eyes, especially if the government or the state cheats against you. Like, yo, no way, no way. Like you got nothing but time and money and people, and you still got to cheat. Like,
yeah?
but no, and that's the thing. That's what I was saying before. Like, let's see if this even matters. What if it's
See,
true?
but
And well, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
let's say they can throw that out. Can't they still get you on all the other racketeering and all the other shit?
1,000%. But now the
See,
question comes: is it okay to continue to prosecute when your main base of evidence is illegal, and that's what led to everything else. Because this case would never, like I said, they're not spending tons of money to find every kid who ever tried to steal a charger. Because some of the crimes didn't even go off, just attempted. Some of these
Oh,
things.
so you talking about it should be a trickle down theory? Just because of this,
You,
everything else washed down.
well, because the only way that you can get this is if you had this, and now you lied to get this. So none of this counts. Even if they're dirty, that's your fault. You fucked that up.
Even with 28 people cooperating,
It's the law.
24
I mean,
people.
it's the law. It's due process, and if you fuck with that, it should not count. Even if you're guilty as hell, guilty as hell. I don't give a fuck. Guilty as hell. The
Now
whole
you
universe.
right, you right. You can't fuck with due process. That should be grounds of technicality. You know, that's just like
But we know how these
y'all.
people play. They just make up new shit whenever they want. So we'll see if it even matters. Or if there's a law that's already put in place to make sure that it isn't a clear house on a faulty piece of evidence. Who knows? I don't know. I don't live anywhere near Georgia. I got
Right.
pulled over once. I got pulled over there once, and trust me, I understand. Like they just get, oh man, this one cop was like the quintessential, not the dude you want to bump into at 4 a.m. or a swamp. He flat out wound up telling us after like 3 hours he was fucking with us so bad. Kept calling us city boys. I was driving an Acura with everything in it and New York City plates or New York plates in Georgia at 4 a.m.
Well, you
Like,
already know it. Well, I'm not too far from them, and you know, down here is Confederate versus the,
but they did.
you know,
Yo, I'm a Yankee boy to them. Um,
right.
I'm the same thing.
Did you have on a Yankee hat? Did you have a Yankee hat
Fuck yeah,
on?
of course. Plus, I
See,
mean,
hey,
this is in like 2002, and I'm gonna slam that Acura TL with TVs in it, like 19 chromes. Like this cat did not like me right off rip. And then like I said something to him, just searching the car, and I was like, "You ain't gonna find it, bro. We burnt it long before we got out of Florida. So like, have fun."
damn,
And
yeah,
then I said something to him. This was 3 hours in. I said something to him. He's like, are you fucking? He's like, I'll go stick you in the fucking swamp. No, we'll see you ever again. Shut your mouth. And I was like, oh shit. And then finally the sergeant showed up like 4 a.m. He's like, you got to cut him loose. What are you doing? They didn't do anything. He just wanted us, bro. And he kept calling me city boy. And it's like, I live in the suburbs. Like I go hunting in my backyard. What are you talking about,
nah.
city boy?
You the North, you the
100%.
Federation. They the
100%.
Confederate. That's it. That's it.
So I could even
That's
imagine,
it.
like, and I could only imagine if I had a different skin tone. Like it would have been not
Oh
like
my
crazy.
goodness.
You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
my
But
goodness.
yeah. So people like that are the ones, there's good people and there's bad people, no matter where you
Right.
go, what you do. And we got them in our
Right.
law. And it's fucking scary.
I
It's
mean, it's
scary.
just crazy down here because it only down here we allow to let the losers celebrate like they won, and it's so they hold on to it. They hold on to it.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about down south too is like when you let's say you've been tried, convicted, and all that, they send you out to some prison. It's like a family owned prison. That shit
Oh
to me
yeah.
was a crazy
Oh
when
yeah.
I heard it. That's crazy. That they just make the rules and like how you get like you're never getting out of a family prison. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna let you out on a technicality ever.
Nah. And the crazy part about it is who will be supplying them the toothbrushes and toilet papers be they people too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's just
that's
like
what I'm saying. Like yeah, that's a crazy business. Like that privatized prison shit. Like I had always heard about it. I think of it on like a New York scale, not like a family mom and pop type thing, which it most certainly is in down south in some places, which I didn't know
yeah.
about. A few years back. Well, it's a while now, but still, I was like, whoa, for real? Like that. That actually scared me. I was like, yeah, I'd be terrified because I'd be
They're actually in the city. Like you can actually drive to them. It looked like
yeah,
it got the
it's in the
top
middle
off
of
part.
town.
Yeah.
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 It's crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, I mean, I've been in one prison in my entire life. I did work there, but it was like we're shoulder to shoulder with these cats, but it was FCI Raybrook, Federal Correctional Institute Raybrook, up by Lake Placid, New York.
Mm.
Oh, I mean, John Gotti Jr. did his time there. They had MS-13 gang members from out west that were brought over there. Like this place was really real deal. And we were working there. Like we had one security guy with us, but like other than that, like we were just in there in general population. Like it was, I had dudes asking me what's up, and then they hear my voice and like, oh, you live near New York? I'm like, yeah, I live out like in so and so. And they're like, well, you can make a phone call for me? I'm like, yeah, nah, I can't do none of that for you. I'm sorry, man. I apologize.
Right.
But
Right.
being in there, like you see some of these things, like we saw something jump off, which was actually nothing, but it was still wild. Like the shit is just crazy. But nah, thank God I never touched down at any of those places. But man, if
But you
I'd
know what's
be
crazy too though? Down south is just now starting to see our first little wave of Ricos. That's pretty much being like a up north west coast thing.
this
You
is
know
a
what I
big
mean?
up. The fact that they're bringing this into the music business is crazy. And the
Yeah.
Rico, like I said the other night, state Rico, it's not 50 states. I think it's only state Rico in 6 states, I believe. But regardless, their records across the board are 50-50. 50 conviction, 50 lose. But the Fed RICOs are at like 98% or something
And it's
crazy.
their little brother, so it's like even if they do get a chunk up out of you, they big brother can double back for you.
Well, I mean, if it's an open and shut on a state RICO, then why the fuck would the Fed not jump on that? It's an automatic win.
Right.
That's why I don't think that they're. That's why at first I didn't think they had much of this case because the Fed didn't get involved, and this is a gang that's making money going worldwide with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, well, the only reason why they didn't get involved is because Georgia's one of the states that do the state. They got the state feds, so they let the state fed do what they do instead of the nation, the nation fed doing it. If they didn't have a state fed there, I think the big boys would have stepped in.
I
Cause,
feel like
cause
I feel
everybody
like
else like New Jersey, don't they subcontract
yeah, but
with
if
the
you're
feds?
going against New York State, it's completely different than the government because states. The whole point is that the state gets to rule itself. We're autonomous.
Well, they lucky they wasn't in D.C. because it would have been automatic.
First off, the Fed should off rip. Fed shouldn't even fucking exist. Like that's not even legal. Like
Oh,
the only
that's a whole nother ball
It's
game.
bullshit. That's again that's just them just creating new laws so they can win because the ones that they made before to catch everybody that were offhanded didn't work in this case, and this is all
I mean,
came
I
back.
personally feel like what it would originally form for, once y'all already completed your mission, it should have been shut down. We got the CIA for all that other,
No, well
shit, but
they had to do it because of the bank robbing. Because in the 30s when they were all 20s and 30s when they were really into like robbing banks and that was the thing. All you had to do was get across state lines and they can't follow you. State can't
right.
follow you into a new state, so they needed an organization that could go from state to state. But then so they get it to stop something like that, but now they step in on shit that they shouldn't even be talking about.
But
They
check
make
what Eric Snowden said about them boys. I ain't gonna say which ones are the three letters, but you remember what Eric Snowden said about them three-letter boys.
all them alphabet, all the alphabet outfits are no bueno in my book. Like it's
No, I
crazy.
can't say that. I feel like the
They do a lot
CIA,
of good things. I'm just saying, but if
right,
the bottom
right.
line, if they got a problem with you, doesn't matter who you are, what you're about, they got a problem with you, you're gonna lose, and that's not cool. That's like
Don't you think they are useful?
1,000% because we wouldn't be here without that kind of shit. We needed it. There's a lot of stuff that they do. Look, I'm not pretending like every person that puts on a badge or has a shield or something is a terrible person. I'm not at all. I just think
Nah,
that
no, 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 no.
but there are bad individuals even when you're dealing with a group of good individuals. There's still bad ones in there. There's always going to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. And
Right,
cheat, if you're going to cheat and manipulate your way through a system, you don't belong in that system. And there are people
right.
like that, and these people are known. Not all of them, but some of them are known, and they're still left to be doing their thing. So just that's why that situation is scary because you're going against the machine. The feds are a machine. They don't run out of time,
And
money.
who did New York replace for after Cuomo? Who do they replace?
After they got rid of Cuomo,
Yeah,
some chick.
some chick.
No,
How's
she's
she
fucked
doing
up.
so
They
far?
hate her already. They hate her already. They hate
Why?
her.
What she been doing so far?
Nothing. And now she's like, they're taking our money, man. They're killing us on taxes.
But
Like,
isn't she one of bringing that thing where they trying to let people have carry guns in New York now, right? Ain't she doing that?
I think she's against it. There are people running on open carry platform in New York City, which I agree. If you have more guns out there and you got the right people holding them, shit might not go off as bad. But yo, this is New York. You can't do that. I'm sorry, man. You can't do that. It's gonna
Just
go.
off a simple snatch and grab, you can't
Yo,
do it. Like,
can't be shooting over people over a bagel. You know what I mean? He took somebody's last bagel. Licensed legal carry out guy is gonna hot somebody in the middle of a fucking
see, but
bagel
I
store.
think it's gonna be heavily
Well,
regulated.
well, like right now, like as far as getting they do have concealed carry permits in New York City. They
Yeah,
absolutely have them.
you just
However,
gotta be Lady Gaga or
honestly,
Martha Stewart's bodyguard.
your best bet be a diamond dealer in the diamond district because you got cash on you. That's
Oh, okay.
just about the only
Well, how
people.
about this? How about that community around the street from you? Do you think they got some?
They got their own community task force, and these people don't fucking play games.
Ooh,
I
really?
got friends with them. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, and they
Task force?
straight up, like these people. Yeah, like I don't want to get into it, but yeah, definitely. And I've seen it come down. I've seen it come down to them like starting to implement almost like vigilante justice, but more, a little more control than that, but not legal. There's no due process in what they were about to do.
But
And
they
then
keep it all in. They keep it all
well,
in.
they have a community that there's no reason for you to ever be in there. There's no,
Mm.
Nothing. It's like a
That's a
giant
whole
bean.
nother topic. That's a whole nother topic.
But,
But
I, but, I,
okay.
but I've seen local law enforcement roll in, and it like turned into like almost standoffish. Like it's crazy, bro. When you play with a community, it depends how
What?
thorough and how connected and how well set up they are.
Nah, you right. You right because behind the scenes they know they got the numbers and the money to back it up. So
100%. But also, I want it to be known this is a religious group that doesn't bother anybody. You know what I mean? They don't
of
do anything.
course, of
They're just
course, yeah,
protecting
yeah, yeah.
themselves. They get a lot of shit, and historically, we know that that's fact. Like we've seen some pretty bad shit happen in that community as well. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's just basically the system in this country is totally fucked. And if this isn't if what the defense is saying is true, this is huge, and it should be. And whether or not it's going to be is a whole other question. But in
And
my
more
opinion,
importantly, if they're doing this in this high profile case, just imagine a John Doe, John
yeah,
Schmoes.
for real. I mean, check it out, bro. If these cats were not rappers, if they were just regular kids from wherever, they'd all be in prison already. They'd be gone, done. You know what I mean? And this,
Forging.
yeah.
Imagine the regular citizen forging the grand jury.
I mean, look at the problems this guy's having. He's got the best lawyer out there. Now, you're telling me that some kid who barely made it out of law school that's doing a pro bono work for the state because he's not a good lawyer and can't get his own practice, he's going to get me out of it? Like, what are you, crazy? That's
Mm.
insane. That's
See, and
insane.
I think the when they give you the court appointed lawyer, he's not even gonna waste time with seeing the fact that they forged a grand jury document.
Well, I mean, every time you see a court appointed lawyer come in, they just say, if it pleases the state, we'd like to. And then they just say whatever the prosecution told them to say. I mean,
Right.
every time it's ridiculous. Like you watch, it's like, wow, you didn't even try to do your job. Like, do you even know your client's name?
Because I mean, they both, we all know, people who smart know they be both at the Continental having a nice little dinner,
They're trying to
talking
get in the
about,
play. They're trying to get in
yeah,
the club, and they're playing on
yeah,
the other side, trying to help them out. That way, they get remembered, in a couple of years. But that's not to say they're all like that. There are some public
nah,
defenders
that,
out there that are monsters. Some of them are real good. You know what I mean? But majority of them seem like they're playing for the other side, or at least catering to them, trying to make it easy. They're not really cutting you the deal, or they're cutting you a deal because it would cost everybody too much work to try to like be honest about it. But I don't know. Again, that comes down to the whole thing.
he
It's
said
like,
her name is Kathy, Stephen Washington said her name is Kathy Hochul.
that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The people are not
Okay.
feeling it right now. They're not feeling
Salute
it
to
right now.
James Hudson. Salute to Stephen Washington.
Definitely.
You know,
Shout out to the chat. I apologize. We are not paying attention to the chat that much. I apologize.
John Mikes. Salute to John Mikes. Yellow Rays.
I love it. Our,
But
our
yeah,
chat's always good, and it's always the same people, so that's solid. Like you guys know who you
Kathy
are.
Hochul. Kathy Hochul. They say that they ain't giving her a chance, huh?
I, I look. This is New York. This is New York. You better come out strong and stand on it
See,
every day.
y'all miss Giuliani. That's what it is. That's who
No,
y'all.
no
Who was
shit,
before
no shit. And
Giuliani?
then he went up. He went up to the big boys and he sold out and like bowed to Trump. Like, come on, bro. Like, you represent New York. What are you doing? Like, he
I
instantly
mean,
fell under that flag.
but I wouldn't say he bowed down. He went to the presidential rank. I mean, he wasn't the top dog in what he transferred in. He got to pay his dues before he get, you know. He
Yeah,
might
he
double
was, he
back.
was a monster in New York. I mean, he was a young attorney, and he became a DA, like a junior DA, and he went after the mafia, bro. I mean, 100%, and had an Italian background, and like they were it was an on site with him, like.
He started getting crazy towards the end. Didn't he implement stop and frisk?
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Thank God that doesn't exist anymore. That shit was nuts. You couldn't even take a train in New York City anymore. Like it was nuts. It was pointless to go there. It's like I'm not going anywhere because I'm not going to make it.
Word. They was like
Crazy. It was
they could pull
crazy.
you over any given time, huh?
They would just yank any young person off the train who even looked like they might have anything on them, and they'd be
Yeah,
getting you for like
Giuliani
done.
was tripping with that one.
That
He
was
was a little getting a little old with that one.
that was crazy. That
Do you
was.
remember who was before him, or is that too long ago?
No, I remember. I mean, the first time I ever went down the city on my own, I went to 42nd Street when 42nd Street was still 42nd Street.
Oh, okay,
There's a red and
with the
tan bus
booth
down
say
there.
that. Right, right.
It was nuts down there. It was wild.
Whoever that mayor was, he was allowing all that down there, huh? He was probably
That was
taking the
like
money to.
that was like Dinkins and all them, but like that was crazy. But New York City's a very different place than it used to be.
But how about this? The average person now don't understand what 42nd Street originally was.
Oh no, no, it was like it was the internet before the internet.
Okay, yeah, you know, like Amsterdam, almost basically like New Amsterdam.
Yeah, but seedy like New York version. Like, oh man, It was crazy. I mean, just going to Yankee Stadium back in the '90s was nuts, bro. It was a shooting gallery all out there. There was nothing but needles on the floor and people doing the dope wobble left and right. It was nuts. It was nuts. New York City when I was a kid,
Crazy.
man, it was crazy. The Bronx looked like a friggin' demilitarized zone. It looked like an old war zone. It was
Still
crazy.
do. I got family. I got family that. Yeah.
So do I. I mean, that's my entire family came from the Bronx. I live 20 minutes from it.
Well,
So
actually, yeah, my aunt from there, she passed this year, but I got aunts and uncles that's from the Bronx.
yeah, but
Yep.
go when we're done with this, just go back and find stock footage of the Bronx in the '80s. Oh my God, it's great. It's not just one small section of it. It's crazy. It's like crazy, crazy. It's crazy.
Word.
It was nuts. But like New York City now, everything was like shiny and somewhat nice. And they ended the big thing was they ended open drug markets, open air drug markets. That shit don't exist no more. During COVID, they popped back up again. But that's
Oh,
like
I
you
seen this shit on YouTube where the dude was in the parks. Everybody was selling marijuana in the parks.
dude, back in the day, you used to go down to you go down to the village, right? And you go down
Yeah.
to West Village, you go about like Sixth and Bleecker, and down in that area, you'd have like Washington Square Park, right? Bro, you walk into Washington Square Park, it was all the Jamaican dudes just selling
Is
liquor
that what
there.
Dave Chappelle said he used to perform at
Exactly,
the village? Oh,
exactly. That's what he's talking about. You used to walk in that park,
okay.
like, you would get ripped off 90% of the time, but like everybody in there was holding bags, just pumping tree. It wasn't crazy, 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 like, but it was nuts. But you don't see any of that no more, and that was a huge change. That was a big change in New York when they ended all the open air stuff. Even even
Right.
even in a neighborhood right near me, it used to be wide open. Like just the spot was this one store, and like everybody was out front, and it was on 100%, and it was just going on all the time. And then eventually it just ended because they came down heavy on open air shit. But you see it
So
in other
did so
states.
so did Giuliani start that whole Barclays down in Brooklyn project, or was that the Kathy lady?
That wasn't her. No, that
Okay.
let's see, all these programs that came out, they start years and years and years before, you know,
Okay, so that's Giuliani, just his footwork coming out now then.
or other people who took up the cause. Like he may not have been on it, but people coming up under him were the ones championing that. But she's too
You know
new.
what's
I mean,
crazy though? I don't mean to cut you off. I learned about the New York dude who was the bridge commissioner. Did you hear about that story? In Motherless Brooklyn. You seen that movie?
I haven't watched it. What was the guy's name? Do you remember his name?
No, I don't remember his name, but
He was a bridge and
one of
tunnel commissioner.
one of the boys who the dude who accidentally killed the camera lady, one of his brother, Baldwin. One of the Baldwins was the bridge commissioner in New York who had kind of the contracts and the power back then. I kind of on a good story about him.
Really?
Yeah, the bridge and commit. Yeah, you might have to look that up. But watch the movie Motherless Brooklyn.
Okay, I've seen
Yeah.
that movie before. I've seen that pop up a few times, and I've looked at
Oh,
it.
it's good. It's good. Bruce Willis. I think a dude named Ed Norton, if I ain't mistaken.
Ed Norton's a beast.
Oh yeah. Oh man, it's a good movie. But
That's
man,
what's
we
up.
but hopefully we get some new information with this YSL case, man.
I mean, this is a big one. Like if this is real, if this information is real and legit, like this it's gonna be big. Again, I keep saying this every time, but I want to see how this plays out. Like that, this is wild shit. But other than that, I think it's just damn man, they don't look good in this one. It looks pretty bad. I gotta be honest. It looks pretty
Right.
bad.
See, but this the thing though. If they try to throw that up under the rug and keep it moving, we already know it's gonna be bad for them. It's
Oh,
gonna be bad
1,000%.
for them if they
Oh, if
keep it
that's the
moving,
case,
man.
yeah. If they ignore this, these cats are
Yeah.
done. They're done. They're done. But in my
You
opinion,
think so? If they ignore this, right? You kind of your fate is sealed.
yeah, and that brings it back to the first thing I said about this is if they're coming after you and they want you, they're gonna get you. So if they got a personal vendetta, which it seems like they do, they're gonna just do whatever they got to do to get by this and keep going, prosecute.
That'll
That's
be ugly too if they try to speed past this like it's insignificant, man. That's gonna be ugly. That's gonna
and
be
see,
ugly.
the thing is though, it's like to us it's a big deal, but I think just in the entire American culture, I don't think that this is as big as the people who are immersed in this culture.
You talking about legally? You talking about legally in the legal
Yeah,
system? It ain't a big deal.
yeah, like the average person across the country doesn't even know what the fuck this is.
I mean, they
So
fringe upon our rights all the time. People wouldn't even know.
I
Like
mean,
I got into it not too long ago at Walmart because the dude trying to tell me I gotta show him my receipt when I know the law. It's just like, but the average person, but they're standing in line, be rad, to
not
comply for
caring.
something that's not to comply with a violation of your rights. And then the person who walk past the dude, they looking at me like I'm the madman. It's just like, okay, man, look,
Well,
Do
in
you
the
go to
past,
Target and they ask you for your receipt when you leave?
no, hell no. That's not, fuck out of here. Like, listen, you know what the real policy is on that type of shit? Because I worked retail when I was younger for big companies. You're not even allowed to accuse someone of stealing at all. You can't chase someone out the store. None of that
Yeah.
stuff. You're not
That's
allowed
what
to
your
do none of
loss
that.
prevention and stuff is for. What you want to, let's say hypothetically I was stealing. What you want to help? You want me to help you catch me stealing?
There's certain laws that they just can't break in general.
It's a
And
slap in the face, man. It's like I come and patronize you and then you ask me if let me see if you stole before you walk out the store. It's just like,
100%. 100%. It's,
so the
yeah.
average person don't know. They don't have to stand in line and wait and get that man your receipt, man. I'm like, get on out my face, man. I'm
Well,
not showing
people
you
people
nothing.
don't know their rights, and we know that after we saw what happened with this whole. I don't even want to say the word because it'll get us blocked or whatever. But
Oh,
the
okay,
whole
yeah, yeah, yeah.
2 years, we saw people who one had no clue what their rights were in the first place and allowed egregious, actions against our civil rights and our human rights in this country
Hold on, who
alone.
you talking about? Give me
Just
a
like
reference point.
the past 3 years, like being locked down and all that shit, like, and just all the things that they implemented as law that were not even rules in the first place. They weren't even ideas, and now they're law, but it was never raised as a law. So it's just people just not knowing their rights first off, but then how quickly people give up their rights the second you scare them bad enough. I legit, like, I'm big into like American history, but just like war history in general, like fascinates me, always has. And I always felt pretty comfortable that nothing like, like the Third Reich, like the Nazis, could ever happen again in this world. I think we're too smart for that. But then we quickly see, as soon as they got something that really scares people, people are so willing to fucking do whatever as long as they feel safe, that I realize
Hey,
that shit is absolutely possible again in any
hey,
culture.
B-Rad, you know the Fourth Reich is on. You know,
Feel, you know what time it is.
it's
Uh,
here. It's
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean, it started with our space program. Let's go with that.
Right, right, right.
That's our other show we do.
Oh man, come on, man. They're trying to sell that it's over with. Nah, it's just transferred. It's a different name.
Yeah. Oh no, come on. Yeah. And that's how it always is. That's how it always is. It's just the idea of control. And look, I get it. Like, let's say we were the government. We were trying to like, handle all this craziness in this country. Like, because let's be honest, the average person is a little wild ass person too. I'll be honest with that. Like, people do crazy shit. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean,
I read
morally, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I can give you that.
not only that, like, I read an
Somebody's
article a few weeks ago, and it said like the average American commits 7 felonies before like noon, not even knowing it. You know what I mean? Like, just shit
That's
you
true.
do.
Well, I mean, especially back in the day. Oh
Dude,
my goodness.
remember when they prosecuted that like 11-year-old girl for fucking stealing music off like BearShare, like 20 years or 15 years ago? It was like music sharing, like LimeWire.
I don't remember that, but I remember LimeWire. I used to kill LimeWire, man. That was
Yeah, yeah.
like,
You know how much music I found and never took a dollar for it? Nobody did, but like they sent like kids, like they arrested like kids, like it was crazy.
oh, you talking about as far as like the Napster and all that?
All that.
Right.
Napster started off, but then BearShare, LimeWire, all that shit.
Look how
Like,
far this thing came. Now you can stream legally. It's just like that. All they wanted to do was get their money. That's it.
but you know why? Because there was an industry behind it. But then the
Oh
industry
yeah,
changed.
it was lucrative. They were just behind the scenes setting it up. You know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying? They were just setting it up. But look at Napster. We got to call Napster the godfather of streaming, right?
1,000%. He changed. He
Right.
changed. He changed the music industry, and he wasn't even a part of it.
They don't
Changed it
even mention them.
completely.
They don't even mention them.
No, like that game is gone and over. It's antiquated. That's caveman shit. They'll dig that up one day and like dinosaurs. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now the music business is totally different. So like that's a good thing though, because that shows you that change can absolutely come. But the problem is the
But
first move to the wall is always going to get the bloodiest on that one. He's going to get banged up, and that kid took a
imagine
good.
if they would have. Imagine if the music industry would have, or certain people would have cooperated with them. Imagine how rich they'd be because they, like I said, who was before Napster with the streaming?
I don't. I think that was it. Like that was the come up of that kind of stuff. Like, I don't
That
think there
was
was
it.
anything solid before that. But then the same dude who did that, right? He turned around and had a big heavy hand in Facebook too. Like, but
Oh yeah, I seen his story. I seen his story. Yeah,
they paid him to look like a dirtbag. But like, that guy brought a lot of change to this world.
right, right.
Crazy. But he took a beating for it. You
Well,
know.
look, we ain't gonna keep it going too long, man. Look, we waiting on new developments. As soon as it come, we gonna hit you with something. Let's check these comments real quick though.
Yeah, for real, definitely.
She said, Stephen Washington said the DA has a vendetta. Uh,
People all do. That's their career.
I wouldn't say Stephen. I wouldn't say she got a vendetta. I think she's following the same projection that Kamala Harris followed. You know,
She's the worst.
you know. But But with that being said, it is gangs a detriment to society.
Facts, they are, of course, but I
So
was
would you consider that a vendetta? I mean,
no, she's building her career. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, but all right, so kind of is a vendetta because you ever dealt with a cop who's pulling you over, fucking with you, and it's like he's taking like a personal vendetta against you. It's like, well, this shit, like you ain't even got it. You're just the acting agent in this. Like, why are you getting all personal on me about this? Like,
right.
I committed a crime. It's your job to stop it, but don't take
Okay,
it like
I
in a
can see what
personal.
you're saying. I can see what you're saying. See,
But
but a
on the
lot,
other hand, it's the same
I
people.
don't think the criminals paying attention when they found out that she came from LA to ATL. What they think was going on then?
No, she came here to make that name. Because let's be honest, ATL is wild.
Nah,
It's
she no, she was doing the shit back then.
no, I know she was doing that in California.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
So
now
she
she's
had her
coming up.
name already.
That's knowing at that point. That's knowing your enemy. If you're out in the street moving like that, you got to pay attention. Wow, they just brought a crime buster in
Okay,
from
I see
LA.
what you're saying, Stephen Washington. As far as her passion and how she devoted she is, it is. Yeah, she do got a vendetta out for them. See, but
100%. But again, that's her
okay,
career.
and plus, okay, I see what you're saying, Stephen. Because for Ford's grand jury to be happening, yeah, that's a vendetta. That's a vendetta.
Plus,
Do you think she know about that?
what's that? No,
The
no,
Ford. You
no.
don't think she know about that? She know about everything else, huh?
I'd like to think she doesn't. I can't throw that on somebody, but look, if it's not
That'll
obvious.
be a nice question to ask her in the press conference, huh?
Oh, but you know the answer. You got a canned answer that was made up 6 months before. Or,
Okay.
like, come on,
Oh,
come on.
she got a preset response, huh?
I mean,
Okay.
that's her career, bro. She goes to bed on that and wakes up on that. Like, she ready. She's in the mirror practicing for questions she'll never be
So
asking.
she
Like,
brought that janky promotion from the West.
seems to be doing well for her. She's building up a nice career. You know, she got brought up
And the
down
scary
there.
thing is, she said she ain't done. But what a crazy part about it, a lot of people don't realize that before she came to YSL, she had got Hood Rich Popular One. Now a lot of people don't know about him, but I kind of used to follow Hood Rich music. It wasn't too bad, you know. Everybody know that Atlanta music. He once said he from the Zone 6 of Atlanta, but they got the Hood Rich. They got the Hood Rich Squad.
She was the one who went after them.
Yeah, yeah. She the one who got them. She got them. She matter of fact, she did the press conference about Hood Rich had came either before, yeah, it was before the YSL, and she said they was in the surrounding cities around Atlanta and working their way into Atlanta.
Yeah,
That's
get
why she got
pictures
them
from the
first.
outside coming in.
And you got Hood Rich Pablo One that was a part of that. You had Hood Rich Peso. You had Hood Rich Hector. But you know they since then switched over to RX, but it's still, you know what I'm saying?
But also down there, like just in general, like Atlanta and like the surrounding area around there, because like it's different. Like where I come from in the city, like you've been in New York City before. It's like you
It's
have,
y'all fault. It's y'all fault.
uh, of course, it's always New York's fault, no matter what
It's
the
not
question.
not. But you know for a fact it's New York's fault, right?
For what? What do we do?
What sets us down here? That's a whole
Oh,
nother story. That's a
oh,
whole nother story.
yeah, no, that I
That's,
know
uh,
exactly where that came from. Actually, I drive down that road every time I come home from Long Island.
okay,
Just a
okay,
tough way to get back. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about, where that started and all that, and I'm not even gonna breathe on their name at all.
right,
Oh, look, there's
right.
1090 Jake now. He's on.
1090.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
YouTube.
Oh,
Right
oh
on
yeah.
top.
He be doing his due diligence too. Salute to 1090 Jake, man. He be
Yo,
doing his due diligence.
I talked with another group of guys. Shout out New Age Plug, and all the family from over there. All these guys are wild. They're a good crew over there. It's a smaller community, but they're like hyper focused. The YouTube group. There's a lot of dudes always checking in, but like that's how me and this guy Plug got into it. He watches me and Bush doing Bull Light, and he tried to check me about something I said about 1090, and I stood on it. And now like they kind of brought him back as fans of 1090. At
Oh,
first,
that's you converted them then, right?
no, no. I mean, they did their homework first, but they were trying to get on about shit, and I just kept being like, nah, I'm with it. Like I'm with it. And now like I'm starting to see it. They're kind of all right. They're kind of getting the nod, and 1090's blowing. But like I started
Hey,
watching him
Steven.
randomly. I caught one of his very first things randomly. I was just like, oh, that's cool. Check this out. And he's come a long way. His shit's fire.
What you know? Ever since they stamped him as official, yeah, he shot up there. You know, at first he was
100%.
he was a little bit in question, but you know, when he got solidified, then
Of
he
course,
shot
but
up there.
just because somebody else came up with the same qualifications and same resume as him doesn't mean they're gonna make it. You know, the guy he's got a good
Right.
delivery. He does everything himself. So what you're getting out of his videos is his opinion. He's like the street version, like No Jumper, because No Jumper gives you the info, but like some of them are cool, but I don't fuck with all of them. Like AD's solid as fuck, and
Yeah.
dude, I love Duno too. Like Adam,
I love Duna. I like Duna. I like T-Rail and Smack, man. They make me laugh a lot, man. I
yeah,
fucks with
I like
T-Rail
Shark
and
too.
Smack.
Shark's out of his face. He's
Oh
nuts,
man, Shark. Oh yeah, salute the Shark is like
big time,
my uncle,
big
man.
time.
Shark is like
He,
my uncle, man.
and I'll say this right now, Shark probably wouldn't even fuck with me, but I still salute you, bro.
Hey, Stephen Washington said he wanted me to elaborate on Kamala. Kamala got the same projection as this lady in ATL because she in the '90s she did the was she part of the Super Predator pack?
I don't know what she did. I just know that she put a lot of people in prison, and
Yeah,
that's
she well I mean
yeah.
those were the statues back then. If I'm not mistaken, she probably had a hand in the little 20 of crack giving you
Yeah,
15,
mandatory
20.
minimum drug sentencing.
Yeah,
That's
I think she had a part in that.
unbelievable.
Yeah. So
That right there,
they're
that
using
right
her
there,
format.
that I mean, that whole thing right there with the crack charges is insane because you could have got caught with the same amount. You could have got caught with a kilo of cocaine and not get those
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
But because you put baking soda and water in it, now it's a done deal. Like, come on, man. Like,
So
that's just
Steven, what they doing is they're rewarding these people for being hard on crime and drugs, and then they're basically later on kind of solidifying you a seat in office later on in life, whether you vice or working up under somebody council. But just do your due diligence, fuck up the crime rate, and do because the PAX was crazy. Like B-Rad said, the little you know, come on, man. She kind of fucked up a lot of families with that shit,
yeah.
but she had a
And
job to
yeah.
do.
And the thing is with the drug thing, like, look, drugs are terrible. We all get it. They're terrible. It is. But when people get involved in drugs, man, it's not just somebody sitting at home who doesn't use drugs, making calls, making money. Like, people are really into it, and that fucks everything up. Like
Oh,
these
hold
people,
on, hold on, hold on. Steven Jackson said they have their own people. Steven Washington said, "Don't blame it on NY." See, I don't say too much. I hold stuff back for a reason. But once we got the people interacting with us, we got to be real, right?
100.
And the reason why I say this is because those sets of these gangs that's being okay, it's public record. Fucking, I'm not telling on nobody, but these gangs that are being prosecuted come from somewhere, and their origins aren't based in Atlanta or Georgia. They come
No,
from New York. And
100%.
anytime the word get called down, that's what it is.
That's
So that's why
exactly.
I say it come from New York because you got to kind of connect the dots. All roads lead to Rome type stuff, like yeah.
Yeah, no, it's facts. It's facts. And look, these people that prosecute this, they know that because they know where it comes out of the Fed and goes straight to the state.
Hmm.
They see it better than anybody, and they know it. And it's allowed to be done to a certain extent. But you got to understand. Let's say they made drugs is like the big thing in this country, right? That's the war they've been fighting for years. That hasn't done a fucking thing. Like they haven't stopped anything. It's just gotten worse, if not, if anything.
No. I actually think that they're making a turn on it, but I'm gonna let you land your point.
Well, basically, let's say they were to legalize drugs tomorrow, right? How many legitimate people in this country would be out of a business? Like, how many people would be out of a job tomorrow if drugs went legal? You don't need as many cops. You don't need
I
jobs.
don't think that too many people, but I think they're taking the
No,
approach.
there's a whole industry based on stopping drugs. Like, there would be so many people be out of work tomorrow, and it would, you know what I mean? Like, if they just made drugs legal and nullified everything. I'm not saying that drugs weren't still around. I'm just saying, just in general, like, drugs are a non-issue anymore. So many people that have jobs in this country don't have jobs anymore. Prisons would be empty for the most part. Most people in jail are for jail for drugs, right?
Right.
There wouldn't be rehabs. There wouldn't be counselors. There wouldn't be as many judges, lawyers, politicians, drug task force. All these people.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
The
saying.
business.
The actual market, like how petrol is about to be in the next couple of years, is about to be shut down. But what I'm talking, and I feel that that's a good point. But what I'm thinking they doing from a standpoint of kind of like I think in France or something, they let the kids drink earlier, so it's not taboo. So by the time you
Yeah.
become an adult, or it's not like taboo. You get what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they actually deferred more kids from becoming alcoholics by letting them drink or choose earlier what they want to do. So I
Well,
think that
anytime you tell somebody they can't do something, they want to do
come
it.
come on, come
And
on.
drinking in this country is like everything is don't drink, don't do this, don't do that. So then when you finally get to that age, it's like kind of like a rite of passage, and it's a big deal. And you watch people who didn't drink and they turn 21, they go out and turn up, and That's a lot of issues right there, and that's just one
Yeah,
aspect of it. You know what it is? The bottom line is we live in a free country. Then give us a little bit of rope. Then you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
let it. Don't implement so many rules so that we kind of are free, but to a certain extent, like no, give us the freedom to fuck it up and then take it away. Don't put all these rules in place and then make us just deal with it, and then we
Same
react.
thing with the seatbelt. How you gonna give me a ticket for not wanting to protect myself? That should be my
Yeah. In,
option.
in
If
fact,
I
if
want to fly
people
through
don't
my
want to wear seatbelts,
windshield, let me fly through my windshield.
yeah, then you're not
Shit.
gonna have a bunch of dumb kids who don't wear seatbelts either. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like that's there's a lot of people that live in America who wouldn't have made it. You know what I mean? Like if they didn't have these stupid rules that they just get followed
Nah.
early, it's insane.
Stephen Washington's crime don't pay no more. I think the streets were, when they come down to the top of it, it's all, tainted anyway. I think Eric, the low level hand to hand, still probably got some, but for the most part, it's dead, man.
But these days,
All
yeah,
the money on the internet, all the
100%,
money on the internet.
100%. Because in the streets, everything's on tape. You know,
Yeah,
they got you. That's one. I wouldn't do shit these days. My God, the things we used to do are just not even possible anymore. But then on top of that, like there's no style to the game anymore. There's no class to it. You know what I mean? They took the organization out of the crime, which is who kind of enforced the rules against the people you can't go to the cops about. You know what I mean? Like
and more importantly, the higher you go up, the more is more cooperatives, and it'd be
it's
the
a
main
business.
big boss who, like,
It's a
think about
business.
it in Scarface, the Overlord. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
come on,
absolutely.
man.
That's why it was organized because look, this is how it's going, and in order to make sure that we don't get screwed up here, we'll keep all you idiots down lower in line. That's why the streets didn't do things in certain neighborhoods back in the day because there was someone who ran that neighborhood. Now, if somebody runs a neighborhood, it's just they just hustle the dope. That's it. They're not
See, and that's
enforcing
another thing. He said how gang culture started in Cali.
different things.
I don't know. See, I feel like gangs did start in Cali, but I feel like if we want to be historians about it, the gangs in New York started in New York as far as when. Come on,
Yeah,
check the movies. That was 1800s, man. They
our
had,
country
so.
started as a gang. Our country started as a bunch of guys that got
See, but
guns
I
and
see what you're
didn't want
saying,
to pay
Steven. You're
taxes.
talking about like blood crip, but I don't think like that's the say all be all to gangbanging. That's pretty much what's most popular, but I
That's
don't
just
think that's the grand the originator of gangbanging. I don't think. I
plus
don't
all
think.
that stuff. I mean, that's politics. I don't really want to get into, but
Right,
even
right, right,
but that's just the big names. You know, that's the McDonald's and the Burger King of the
right,
gangland.
right, 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 right,
You know,
right.
and that's it is what it is. But just gang culture has taken off. But anytime you have a group of people who are threatening another group of people, whether that group's not together, it's just innocent people in the street. You're going to have another group of people form up to protect themselves, and that's just how the gang started. It was just
That's it. That's it. That's it.
turned into something completely different. Completely different.
Right, right.
You
And I
know?
don't think it's a problem. Like we said earlier, ain't nothing wrong with being in a gang. You just can't call yourself a gang. Call yourself a militia.
Yeah,
Because
just call
ain't
yourself a
nothing
criminal
wrong with
again.
being a militia,
But
protecting yourself, having a code of honor and the conduct. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
yeah, and then if you're out doing shit too, man up. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's
I don't
it.
know.
That's it. That's
That,
it.
that's a lot of the issue. Is just if you're gonna do the wrong thing, that's cool. I've done the wrong thing plenty of times, and I acknowledge that it was wrong. But don't act like you're not. You know what I
But
mean?
this the thing though. This the thing we need to stop with. Like the mob was one of the biggest organizations to ever do it. They had multi-million-dollar corporations or Teamsters was just to name one. Look how big that is now. Like ain't no gang ever had an organization like a Teamster to name one, and they were brought down. So you don't stand a chance, man.
Funny thing you bring them up. Shout out to the Teamsters.
Shout out to the Teamsters. Shout out to the Teamsters. Send my application because I've been. Come on, man. We're gonna wrap
Nice.
this up. We're gonna wrap this up in a minute, man.
Absolutely. ESC was fun just getting on here talking shit. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you guys coming through.
Shout out Bush. Shout out B-Rad.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely, definitely. A big addition to this, and this
And
has
when we
been
get
going
some
good.
new information, we gonna be right back at it with y'all.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't know what this is just yet, but hopefully we'll have some more information for you guys real soon.
All right, man. Be safe out there, B-Rad.
Get the YouTube. Take care, bro. Everybody be good. Have a good night.
Salute.